Well, good morning, BCOT247 students. This is Mr.D, and we are in week number 6 of our business communications course here at Cerritos College. And I'm going to go ahead and just share a little bit about this week's work. And hold on, sorry. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and enter in to our class in Canvas. And then I'm going to just share a little bit about this week's assignments as I've been doing every week. So I'm going to go ahead and select modules. Which you could also select it from the table in the front. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Here we are on week number 6. So last week, of course, we were looking at sentence rewrites. We looked at chapter 3, which dealt with the pre-planning of your business writing or business writing, so your business documents. And then this week we get into drafting and putting together, outlining your business documents. So just like you learned in English 1A, it's very critical that you plan before you start to write, that you organize your information in a format that makes sense. So in English 1A, you learned about having a thesis statement, you learned about having the body of your document, and then you had your introduction and conclusion. In the same way, whether you're writing a memo or a letter or an email, you should take at least a few minutes to kind of outline what it is that you want to communicate. And that organization will show itself in how you lay your document out. The most important thing is you want to put like information together in a paragraph. So for instance, you don't want to be talking about 3 different things in all the paragraphs. You want to talk about one thing in one paragraph, a different thing in a different paragraph. Each paragraph should really have its own topic, and you'll be learning about that in this chapter about chunking and grouping like information together. And this is when you're going to begin to start to draft your business documents. And you can do what's called a scratch list, where you basically make a list of all the different things that you would want to talk about in your document, just like you did for your presentation. And then you can start grouping those things together. And then as you're writing your document, again, in business writing, it's about brevity, it's about economics, it's about keeping it brief and short. So keep it brief, but make sure you cover everything. And if you do so, make sure each paragraph has its own topic or theme, as we'll be learning about as we go forward. So you're going to be doing your check-in assignment on chapter 4, sorry. And actually this chapter 4, I take that back. Chapter 4 is about making your document more readable. So this is a very, very important chapter in that sense. Last week was when you were doing drafting and chunking. This week you should be actually finishing your business document. It gives you all the tools to proofread it well as to make your document readable. And this is a hugely important aspect of this class, is I want your documents to be scannable. And what I mean by that is I don't want it just to be paragraphs of text. Business writing is always short paragraphs separated by white space, but not just paragraphs. Within the paragraphs, you should use things like bold text, italicized text, underlined text, bullet lists, headings above your paragraphs. All of that makes your document scannable and readable. And that's very important in a busy business person's life, to not just get an email or a letter that's just paragraphs of text, but rather your eye can scan the document very quickly and get the gist of what it's about. And that's the idea of making your writing economical. And I'm going to be looking for you to overdo that in this class. I want you to use a lot of design elements to improve the readability. And chapter 4 deals with that quite in detail. In fact, your homework for this week is going to be making 2 documents more scannable. So they're just right now paragraphs of text. I want you to blow them up and use headings and bullet lists and short paragraphs and white space and all the rest to make your document very scannable, so your eye can scan it very quickly versus trying to read a whole paragraph. And that's really the gist of this week's chapters. So you're going to be doing your check-in assignment on that. You're going to be answering questions about that. You're going to be doing a quiz on chapter 4. Your homework is making these 2 documents more scannable and readable by using design elements to improve your readability. And then you have your first exam as well. And your first exam, by the way, will also be looking at, you'll have 10 sentence rewrites. That's why last week's homework was sentence rewrites. So go through, if I identified anything that was incorrect on your sentences, make sure you correct those. By the way, I typically don't read every single sentence on that assignment. It would just take me too long. I go to the key ones that kind of tell me whether you get the concept or not. And a lot of those key ones are the same ones that will be on the exam. So be looking for those rewrites. You'll actually be typing in your answers in the exam itself. So that's pretty much it. The following week, the week 313 to 319, is our spring break here at Cerritos College. So you don't have to, you kind of really have, a couple of weeks to get started on the following week's work if you want to do that. So anyway, that's it for this week. Have a great week, everybody. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and make sure that you watch the video on business writing, because I cover a lot of the material on that. And I'll make sure I put it right here in this week's module so that you can see it. But I did record that last week when we had our Zoom session. So I'll make sure I get that in there. If I didn't get it already, I'll make sure I put at least a different semester's version, because it's the same information, so that you can check that out this week as you're making your documents.